comment now. Let's see. Travis saved the day. Teamwork. I didn't know Travis was here. The topic today was Scientology's impact on families, personal stories, and insights. So, Travis, if you got anything you want to say about that, give it some thought. Type. It's like I had y'all tied up like a hog. Y'all was hog tied. Couldn't go nowhere. Go get you. Okay. Let's run it. All right. All right. It's Monday, December 4th, 2023, 10:16 a.m. I'm 15 minutes late. Sorry. I mean, I was here, but I don't really think I was here. Because it didn't do it right. Boy, it didn't do it right. So, yeah, okay. I spent the last 4 days covered in shit. That's what it amounts to. Going through the Buy Me a Coffee. Bugatti. I changed it to Bugatti because there's a really awesome song called Bugatti in Church that my friend's son wrote along with Aiden Correa's grandson, or Aiden Correa, Chick Corea's grandson, out in Vegas. And it's this really cool street club vibe, soul gospel type song. And it just came up from being in a session, probably high AF, and come across this clip of a guy talking about his Bugattis. And he looks it's like an 80s clip. They're looking at old vintage clips, and this guy's like clearly tweaked out on some cocaine. And he's like, well, I don't know, some people like it, some people don't like it, but all I can say is, what color's your Bugatti? I like Bugatti, you like Bugatti? Yes, indeed. Good morning, Bach Buddy. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Beach. Good morning, Blues. Good morning, Pete. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is morning. God, dog it. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, y'all. So, yeah. It can't easy. That's where we were at. Okay? Saddling up, BB. That must be Buck Buddy, I'm guessing. I don't know. Hey, Marcus. Thanks for sharing your story. It can't easy putting yourself out here. No, it can't. It sure can't. I said, comment ça plume? Bon matin. I still need to renovate my blog and all 5 of my channels. Try to get some income. It's always been a secondary objective, but with disability hanging for 7 years, it's more of a primary now to keep things running. Your help is greatly appreciated, Nat. Yeah. So, at some point this week, some point before the year's end, quite sure, quite certain that, what is this? I have an appointment. Kite clinic, yeah, tomorrow. That, yeah, it's the there's only so many denials. You know, I just keep going, I guess. But the issue really is that if I start earning income, then I lose insurance. That's the main issue. I've been in therapy for years, and it has helped a lot. I think that it should be one of the things that is like for the purposes of this channel especially, you know, I'm looking at the screen and I see the Theta thing and it made me think of Scientology. So I think that it should be like resources, if you know, any kind of resources, the primary resource for people leaving, not just Scientology, but any group, should be therapy. I'm telling you, I've had 7 years of it. And, like, the physical therapy, that's one side of it. But the other side of it is, I just can't stress how important it is. I can't stress how far it reaches, how it affects everyone around you. So it's important, in my opinion, to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be an LPC. It could be a counselor. It could be a priest. Probably not the best choice, but I've done it. I mean, I'm not going to say I ain't done it. I've gone and talked to priests. I talked to a priest who was a priest for 35 years. And it was at the very end of his time. And he was retiring. He's from Louisiana. And he traveled all over the world. Makes me wonder, right? You know, why did they move you so much? But he had 3 missions, or 3 churches. And even going to someone like that to talk about whatever is burdening you in a way that you feel is safe and secure is good. Therapy is for the serious, you know, like you need an LPC when you're dealing with complex trauma. My opinion. And complex trauma is complex, and it takes a while. It can't just be like boom, done. You know, and there are practices like psychological, you know, groups and stuff, practices that kind of focus more on the lighter end of things, like people who aren't having complex shit, but they're having normal life stress, normal problems. And I say normal, there is no normal, but like typical problems, even typical to the point where it's like, you know, it's not super typical, but it's not, you know, not typical. Like, say, you know, dealing with a DUI and getting your life back on track, or having a drug problem, getting your life back on track. These things can be, or finding out that you have some diagnosis that you need to learn how to develop coping skills with, or for, so that you can cope with life, dealing with that thing, whatever that thing is. And so anyone leaving, I feel like I've been watching The Jerk a lot because it's on Netflix. Anything above the chiclets, but between the erasers, that's excluding the Anything in this small area right here. Come on, babe. This sucker thinks we a rube. It's a profit deal. Yeah. So those practices are a profit deal. And I'm not saying they're wrong because, like I said, there's plenty of typical things that need handling. And need things that need to, people who aren't having like life systemic, not systemic, but sort of life systemic or domestically systemic problems that have gone on for decades. That kind of practice isn't equipped to handle that, and usually they don't want to. So, how did I get onto that? We talked about Creator Nat. I was responding to Creator Nat, and then we got onto that. Who said, Bonjour, Marcus, watching back catalog of videos on your channel now. Drink 2 excellent coffees. How about 2 Bugattis, or eat a delicious meal. Butte en paix. Butte en paix. Yeah, butte en paix. At this point, every little bit helps. Not much, but I hope it helps. Tish bought 3 Bugattis. Ren, is that a band or YouTube? Validating things have had a compound effect on my life. I'm honored to do it, and thank you for the compliment. I'm still working on it. That was a response to Alette Jansen. Thank you for the validation. I needed that. I really like your channel and approach. Also, did you check out Ren yet? I still don't know what Ren is. Alette Jansen. Beach coffee at Boulangerie or on me. Boy, this was a while back. It's been a while. We should go to La Boulangerie. Yeah. That was when my nephew was in town. Cottage Swifty. Apostate Alex. Keep up the good work. I'm trying, man. Poet. I'm drinking that coffee right now. Oh, God. It's a lot of review. Trying to find the ones I haven't responded to. That's what I should do, because, good Lord. I can feel the love. Okay, I've responded to everything. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I need to work on my blog. I need to get working on the transcripts for the book. I said the B word, and I'm afraid. These are all links, by the way. So if you go to the coffee page, you can find like all my shit, basically. There's, well, hold on. So these are the main channels, and then click on that. What is this? That's just YouTube. Why is it doing that? Okay, I do have an Theta Facebook. I have 1 like and 1 follower. So there's that. If you want to do Facebook, this is the channel where I have 2 refresh. Is it still broad? It's still showing 2 broadcasts. That's hilarious. Screwed the pooch this morning. This Octane Sound. This is the studio network that Dave Damon and his other brother Dale and me built and got destroyed and rebuilding. Great. So then there's my private or public, private, whatever, gaming channel. I do different things. Most of this is for editing. There are some podcasts here. Some of them relating to Scientology and sociology, and in particular, the William Sims Bainbridge, who infiltrated the Process Church back in '75. played this game. Not only played this game, but was in my guild or cult, which is pretty much what it was. When I joined another gaming culture, which was really bad, called Fist of the Empire. Two cult leaders can't exist in the same space. So, and I was experimenting with stuff. I was practicing Scientology still and playing an MMO, and managed to, get a hold of a bunch of people behind me. And William Sims Bainbridge was in my group and doing sociological research online as it relates to, stuff. So that's an interesting podcast series, I guess. And what is this? This is the publishing entity that, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I can't really own anything, can't really make any money because of the insurance stuff. So I had to figure that out. I do broadcasts Thursdays, broadcast a lot of local music and music that I have licensed to broadcast. Not every single one is back up yet because I have claims to submit releases to. All right, what's this one? This is LaFleur Brothers. It started out as me and Travis in a group of songs that I had. We went into the Maroney Studios and recorded in 2020. Crazy year. And is now sort of a platform for the music, and we got some shows coming up. One December 23rd, one January 5th in Southwest Louisiana, a little crap town called Lake Charles, where we were born. And I was born in a small town. So there's the LaFleur Brothers Facebook. What I'm saying is that from the Buy Me a Coffee page, like, you can find everything. Even the Instagram that I never use. So, like, in Theta Insta. Had no posts yet. I should think of things to post. I'm going to have to ask the AI, what do I post? Here's the one LaFleur brother, Devontae LaFleur. Check this out. This was from my cousin's funeral. Let me make sure I got the volume correct. Whoa, that's a space station. All right, that's Eve. All right, this is a song from a memorial for my cousin Kim Morrow, who passed away. Hey, Whitney. Oh, I did the sound wrong. So, this is going to be that. And welcome to the space station. Here we are. Big mining dock. All right, let's... docking requested. Cynthia always makes sex jokes on that. Well, no, actually she doesn't. She doesn't. She wants to, but she doesn't. All right. This is from a memorial. I'm about to lose my mind. Kim Morrow, 63, died same age as, well, I think Dad was 64 when he died. But him and Kim were good friends, and Wayne died, which was his brother, about 6-7 years ago. Where's the damn browser source here? Is the volume off? it was off. Making it more complicated than it is. So that was from Kim Morrow's memorial. And man, they didn't have no priest getting up there going, God this and God that. It was talking about the person. Not the soul that will exist after and where it goes and how we should all just hope that we end up in the right place. Wasn't none of that crap. I can't stand that. I don't have much else here. I got a funny video from another life. '13, 2014, maybe, I don't know.
Turn it up.
2017, what it says.
Check it out.
me geeking out. Look, I don't know. What do y'all want to talk about? I know there's all kind of shit going on outside the doors, over the wall, instead of people lobbing grenades and fighting and shit. All kind of drama. That's why I say, get therapy. I don't mean to sound like a dick. It helped. But the thing is, you know, and I do understand this thing, because you got to find someone that you are willing to talk to. You got to find someone that's worth a shit to you to talk to. Like, you know, that makes sense. Someone that you think that can understand you, I guess, and that you can trust. And so that, when you're going and shopping for that, essentially, for one, it feels weird to be shopping for that, because you have that most of the time. A lot of people do. If you know, some people don't, but a lot of people have. Even if you're, you know, homeless, you got somebody you can go talk to. Hey man, come here. Right? But Whitney, hell to the yes, get therapy. Yeah. You know, it should be a requirement, in my opinion, for anybody leaving a high coercive control group that had to be extracted, essentially, by a nonprofit organization. It should be a hard requirement that that person start receiving some kind of counseling or therapy. That should be a hard requirement, in my opinion. Because if you don't, and everyone that gets out is still reeling and not healing, the alliteration. There was this weather guy, meteorologist. Hey, poet. What's up, Brian? Good morning. You must be on the West Coast, man, because... Or sleep really late. Or I got up early. I did. There's a meteorologist named Rob Robin, and he did alliteration like crazy. And I feel like there's a subconscious influence always in broadcasting that he had on anyone that was in earshot of his broadcast. And he was a regional broadcaster, so, you know, a lot of people heard Rob Robin. This is Rob Robin with the weather. And he would alliterate weather. I'll let you imagine it. Maybe I'll write something later. But yeah, like what do we want to talk about? This is me and Sam Cormier. Probably related. I don't know. What do you think? Does it look like it? So there's that page. Is that the last one? It might have been the last one. No, I have a game Instagram. And it says, never should have come here. Which is one of the most repeated, NPC dialogue lines in the game. Never should have come here. Okay, where I need to find El Chato, because I had the previous one open, and I'm going to grab the current one and be prepared. Yep.
Here's one thing.
Come here. There we go. Don't want to create a time paradox. Time paradox averted. Okay. You missed that sound, Travis. Well, I do know an accordion player here in New Orleans. Uh, Sophia, referring to finding a therapist, it's the worst kind of dating. It can be, you know. I haven't had horrible experiences like in recent years. I'll say that. But part of the horror wasn't just finding someone, it was the facing things, you know, for me. Um Oh, you sleep in 2 hour increments. Okay. I got you, buddy. Um Amy Jean. Oh, it should be a requirement that everyone visits with a therapist once every year or so. Mental health checkup. Just like a physical health checkup. Hey, there's a freaking idea. That way problems can be caught earlier. Well, Morty's mind blowers right there, people. Like, who's listening to that? Yeah. Yeah. I could go with that. Um, it doesn't have to, just like a physical, it doesn't have to be nothing major. But like if you're like showing up to a mental health checkup and you're like gnawing on your teeth and you got no teeth and you're on meth and whatever, like, hey, you might want to get some help. Might reduce crime. I don't know. Um, Whitney says we look alike. Yeah, Cormier. It's possible. I'm not saying that we're related, but it is possible. And Sophia says it's Louisiana, so it's probably a cousin. Yes, it's probably my third or fourth. You know, it could be second or third cousin. Uh, but other thing that I have to remind myself of is that, uh, like going out to fifth cousins and stuff like that. Um, Fifth generation, paternal, had tons of kids, mostly men. So there's tons of, uh, um, they had girls too, but it was a lot of boys, and they all started massive, giant Catholic families. So yeah, we all can. Aaron Thomas, the guy who mastered our record, added to his story. He's on a plane. I wonder where he's going. Probably somewhere really cool. Yeah. I mean, oh, interview former members who have experienced the impact, yeah, on their families. Well, I don't have anyone to interview. Um, I'm not sure I'm a good interviewer. I think I've been getting better, but I haven't interviewed anyone since middle of the summer. I interviewed Travis's mother, Anna McGee, his adopted mother, our mother, and it was a great interview. And I'm still editing it, but uh, it's material that's close to home, and I avoid it. It's hard. I'm sure that's relatable. I mean, therapy. All these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Therapy. Get in therapy. Go to a counselor. Talk to somebody about what you have experienced. Because, and I can say from experience, from, the when I play back my old videos from 2015 to 2017, which is normally what I was doing on Mondays, and then I did 5 features based off prompts. Here it is. I can go back and see myself, and I'm still not right. So when I stopped making videos and well, yeah, I was in therapy, and then I realized, you know what? This whole making videos stuff and being involved with this the way that I am at that time, the way that I was at that time, was sort of like exacerbating my problem, I guess. And it was almost like another, just jumping from one extreme to the other. And wasn't going to go anywhere productive or anything like that. But some of them were, very much like prompted by not AI, but people who would watch, comment. I don't do content. What's wrong with the Scientology people? Why are they all fucked up all the time? Who's this new one? Let's get another one out. Look how fucked up it is. What did they make you do? No, I can't do that. I mean, I could. I'm not. Do whatever the hell I want. There are, if you've ever done that, say, I'm gonna do whatever hell I want. Yeah, there are sometimes consequences for that. It just depends on what it is you're doing, I guess. But what I mean by that in regards to how I talk about Scientology, who I talk to about it, and what information I want to share, and how I want to present it. Hell, I don't really have much of a, if you can't tell, a necessarily a preordained thing. Now I can prompt, and I can write my own prompts. Ha ha ha, you're bad, direct hit. I don't know. Let's see. I always put within reason at the end of about I do what I want. Yeah. Yeah, Whitney. Come on. Like, I can't do that. What Whitney said, no gossip, no BS, it's damaging. Yeah, I'm not into that. And believe me, I mean, I could, but, like, what's the fucking point in that shit? I, that, I hope all of you that are here understand, is a metric that Facebook and YouTube and Google, like, it's not just a metric, but it is a targeted algorithm. And look for people who are mad. Look for people who are upset. We're upset. We're upset. We're upset. I'm not happy. That, what happens when they find that in a group is they get a bunch of comments, a bunch of traffic. People, it's like the rubberneck effect. Rubbernecking. And everyone wants to see. And, oh, what did you think of that? Who do you believe? Whose side you take? What do you think about this situation? Oh, that was so bad. You know, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, Galaxy, whatever. In the beginning, the universe was created, and everyone thought it was a pretty bad idea. However, that's worded. Yeah, it's a lot of bad. It's a lot of bad out there. There's a lot of good, too. When you are focusing on the bad, so, I talk about, oh, I've had years of therapy. Well, where's your insight or knowledge or whatever? What have you learned? What I've learned is coping a lot. And I know one thing about coping is that, like, having a net, what I call a net negative outlook, is not conducive to coping. Yeah, since I'm kind of vaguely talking about Scientology, there are crisis situations usually involved with leaving or getting out. Even if you're out and you're just leaving the theology behind, that can create crises. And in crisis moments, or as the good old boys here say, clutch. Man, that was clutch. Means that grace under pressure, grace under fire, courage under fire, grace under pressure. When there is a crisis, cool heads prevail. And so with coping skills, not coping mechanisms, because that was actually the problem, is like finding my coping mechanisms, figuring out what they are, and are they maladaptive or not. And many times during crisis, you can develop a maladaptive coping method. It's not even, you're not intentionally doing it, but when another crisis comes up, there it is, maladaptive coping. She said she was here chanting in the other room. Yeah. Let's see. Let me catch up with the comments a little bit. Yeah. I know I was on a roll there with the protest. There's sadly nothing. Okay, here we go. Inquad Cadiz. No, I normally can't comment, but you do. You, Marcus, you really help us. Well, I'm glad that I'm helping y'all. Is there more than one of yous? Nick, Nikorasu, Echo Chambers, Eyeball Seeking. Yeah. Yeah, and, there... Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how what I'm doing is any different, but I definitely would, want to keep it keep it copacetic, like the song from the '90s that maybe some of you know. And you just don't get it. You keep it copacetic. Tim Greenglass, there's sadly nothing like hate to bring people yeah, that's right. And that is what these platforms are actually built on. So it's very tricky. Like it's pretty amazing to me that I'm showing 17 people in the chat. I don't know if that's correct or not. But that's an extremely high number in my mind because what really works is when you start banging on shit and making noise and talking about other people, talking shit. Another thing the good old boys down here say is talk shit, get hit. Talking shit. I think Cynthia's talking shit. She always talking shit. Okay. The internet is essentially an amplifier. That is correct. I love that you see it that way, Sophia. Makmerdico Gal. Troublemaker. Modit. I kind of see it that way too, I had a lot of like bummed outness. I'm not using my big fancy words. I've been out in the country for 4 days and it's already affected me. But and I've been covered in shit, working on sewage. The internet is an amplifier. I got bummed out in my 30s because I was like, man, if I'd have had this technology when I was just leaving home and I got emancipated, I would have grabbed that stuff by the balls. By the balls. I just don't have that youthful energy like I used to. Beach Comer says, you are definitely not a clickbaiter. Go away, I'm biting. Crying, laughing. No, I mean, my thumbnails are more clickbaity now. Because they, my thumbnails used to just be whatever the hell snapshot it took with the phone. And I really didn't care. Yeah, there's one, Cadiz, what's the first name? Video that y'all might want to watch. Incud? Cadiz? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Incud? The, PTP's reduction of attention span. I do a video where I go over that. And there's some videos in the category in my folder here that are labeled working through Scientology concepts. And yeah, as I started pulling a lot of my videos down and and looking at them, watching them, seeing what was what, and going through this shit in therapy. 2017, 2018, 2019. There was a period where I had a lapse in care in 2019, but as soon as I came back here, I reestablished with the same therapist, and yeah, there's still. I mean, I did 300 fucking videos. Go look at. I mean, that's not a lot either. Chris Shelton has probably done. Good Lord, let's see. How many videos does Chris Shelton have that are up? Like, there's probably some he pulled down too. Videos. How many? Can I see how many? I mean, there's so many. And look, just to point out, Aaron Smith 11, 200K, was interviewed by Lex Fridman. I don't know if you guys like Lex Fridman. I have a friend in Latvia who says that Lex Fridman is a spy for the Russians. And now he's serious about it. I don't know if he's a spy for the Russians, but his access to people is really unprecedented. Some of the people he interviews, it's incredible. So it's like it's like a moth to a flame for me. I can't resist listening to these long form, candid interviews, or if they're not, they're staged really well, because those questions that he asks seem to be really like he's coming up with some of, like it seems like he tries to throw as many curveballs as he can during those longer interviews. I see quality, not quantity. Yes, quality, not quantity. That is correct. Now, with quantity, you can, we're the people's front of Judea. No, we're the Judea's front of the people. No, we're the people's Judean front. You can rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. And get people to do things. Somebody somewhere I was reading was explaining a very simple concept that, how do I put this? I did a video called Virtual Friends that talks about this. So I'm not going to go into all of the detail, because what I'm going to say, and what I can't remember where I heard it. People online, people of the internet are not your friend. And while that is true in many cases, that's why I did the Virtual Friends video, because the ability to reach out and interact with people is a double-edged sword, because you have no real consequence for going on and saying something defamatory, inflammatory, or even something positive that someone else sees and gets offended by, that how could you possibly say that about that person, or whatever. And in that way, where the anonymity is sort of taken advantage of because you can just get up and walk away from your computer is I think sort of a dangerous path. Let's see here. Nikarasu tried Lex, but his cadence put him to sleep. I mean, for a Monday morning, I don't know how y'all listen to me. Because I'm putting my damn self to sleep. He continues, Lex will talk about anything and will have a decent grasp of the subject, not just 30 minutes on Wiki like most shows do. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, Lex seems to be a pretty bright dude. That's what I like that. I appreciate that. Whitney works in tech. I'd never heard of Lex until Aaron's interview. So, body blue raised arms. That's the emoji that I can't see in the restream chat. I don't know, is what she said. Tim on Lex. Lex Fridman. Dot, 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 dot. Couldn't hold his liquor when drinking with Joe Rogan. Could you, Tim? Just saying. But Lex is pretty smart, spy or not. Well, gotta be smart to be a spy, I think. Otherwise you'd be a burned spy. You know what I mean? Oh, this link. Yeah. So, I don't know if I said this or not. I know that I have. But this is the memorial page for the cultural award that we won for this record. Okay. Like, I think it's funny, Tim, that you're calling out Lex for not being able to hold his liquor with Joe Rogan. Like, I bet you Joe can drink. I can't, dude, I can't hardly have a beer anymore. I just don't even want to, if I drink anything, it's like super special occasion, I guess. It's usually going to be like a old fashioned or something. I can handle that, but man, I still get a crazy hangover. Nikarasu, the one Lex did with John Carmack is very good. Yes. Whitney, if you are in IT and you like video games and stuff like that, John Carmack does a interview with Lex Fridman that is well worth watching. Tim, you just saying no? You couldn't? Or Rogan would drink me under the table. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Man, you see, you talking shit. You don't have to like people to listen to them. No, you don't. You don't. It helps. But you're right. Like, yeah. There was a 4 years or so there where I was, I avoided the TV like the plague. Doesn't mean I didn't listen, because everything that was coming out of the TV comes out of everything else when it's the right person. Drink with your food. Damn, dude. Been drinking much or what? 2 hours at a time. Brian, gotta work on this sleep. I know it's hard, man. Whew. 2 hours just... The minimum is 4. Right? But ask somebody. Word. Well, what the fuck now? Because it's, usually I do 2 hours. But I gotta tell you, I'm exhausted. I, had a long... Oh, we could look at this. I had a long week, and I got another long week, and a bunch of like big question marks, big ones, like what is going to happen? And the whole sewage thing. So this is funny because Travis commented earlier, and I didn't catch it in time, but he said better than sage. Better. My mother said she would rather smell raw sewage in her house than sage, and I posted that shit on Facebook because it was funny. My mom, and she was serious. She was dead serious. I'd rather smell raw sewage than the sage, baby. I'm like, really? Why? Shit, man. Raw sewage is nasty. Sage, just smells like burning stuff. All right. See you later, brother. Travis has got to go. He's at work. Dealing with cable crackheads stole. I gotta go deal with the cable that the crackheads stole. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, Whitney, yeah. Nervous system. Witness, I stopped watching all news last January because the urgency in the news wasn't helping my nervous system. It's good that you are aware of that you feel that in your nerves, because, I mean, it doesn't feel good, right? But, like, if it's affecting you like that, yeah. Those are the kind of things that in therapy I've been able to get some help, like identifying things that affect me like that. So, yeah. There seems to be sort of a, yeah, with that, and there is a reason why, just like on television, and there's an innate thing in humans, like just like a car wreck on the road, people slowing down. It's like, what's the traffic all about? There's a car on the side of the road. Now, I mean, given you want to slow down for that car to get in the other lane. But if it's like a huge ass highway and someone's like well off the side, why the slowdown? It's a phenomenon and it occurs called rubbernecking. Can't stand that stuff. And on the interwebs, or on, let's go TV first, because that was first, or maybe even radio. Let's go radio. Orson Welles, War of the Worlds. What happened? Is there anyone in this chat who was even alive when that happened, when the Orson Welles broadcast occurred? I'm curious. If Miss Lorna was. Maybe a baby or something. When that happened, it was like probably the equivalent of like the World Trade Center thing, but except it was fake. It was manufactured. I would not doubt that Orson Welles knew that it could cause that kind of reaction, and maybe would have been curious to see, because he knew that it wasn't true. But the fire departments were mobilizing, the police, I mean, all this crazy shit over radio broadcast saying aliens are invading, aliens are invading. It was in the that's a good question. Let me Google that for us. I'm going to show you this website so y'all control somebody. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but it's really fun. When did Orson Welles do the famous War of the Worlds broadcast? Alright, so what you do is, whatever someone needs to know, this is a fun thing in IT, witness. Well, Blues, just give me a second. God. So when you have somebody who can just Google it themselves, like you're at work, especially this works in IT a lot too. It's applicable in offices all over the place, because someone will be like, what's the doopa-doopa-doo? And it's like, bruh, if you don't know by now, Google it. Because you're just asking me to be your Google. And there is a Google. So, here we go. When was the Orson Welles broadcast? Wait for it. And then you copy this link and you send it like in an email or something to somebody. And they click the link, and this is what happens. Come on, was that really so hard? And then it brings you there. 1938. Yeah, they had voice actors. That's right. That's right. And that, I guess, is what sold it. And, you know, this is a big deal in broadcasting. It's changed broadcasting forever. Then you got, you know, something like 9/11, whatever. The what a lot of tech companies are looking for, social media networks, the way that we are able to hang out right now. They're looking for ways for lots of people to hang out. Well, who is really looking for ways for lots of people to hang out? Well, if you are a company that has, you know, specific demographics, then you're going to want all kinds of information, but you're also going to want, like, about your customer, potential customer. You're also going to want them in a nice herd. Like, oh, okay, if I promote here, it's kind of like having a billboard on a particular street corner. The most, you know, the like, say, you know, Bourbon and Canal, got a big billboard, or Hollywood and Vine, or Hollywood and or Sunset and La Brea or something, whatever. You want the maximum amount of exposure. Maximum amount of exposure. Maximum amount of number of people. And that was the guiding light for a long time. Now that all of our information about all of our little interests and every little, down to the minutia of what time we do what, when we're thinking about what, you'll see, hey, an ad or something, or a video, And that is getting more specific. I'm not going to say better because it doesn't necessarily mean better. You can kind of choke up your own feeds. I don't know if you get my meaning, but you can choke up your own feeds by being reactive. And we saw that in full display during the pandemic, and prior to pandemic. Full display. So there's an old adage about the person in the crowd who is providing an answer of some kind to a question that everyone's like up in arms about or whatever, because it's old. I can't remember it. It's like, I want to say probably from Testament, Old Testament or something. And it's echoed and reverberated in all cultural, like religious stuff and mythology. So like you could find the same thing with stories that Patanjali wrote, who was a yogi guy, or with Lao Tzu before 4 centuries BCE, you know, and Buddha. So it's this idea that there's a crowd, uproarious crowd, filled with hate, anger, frustration. They want to string somebody up. Okay? They want to string somebody up. They need a messiah. They need a pariah, really. They need to victimize somebody for whatever it is that has gone wrong. But they're in that group. There's a person that they won't listen to because they're not hearing them. The person is saying, but they're in such an uproar that they don't even pay attention. Chris and I talked about that, and he probably knows the actual quote or could find it or whatever. He's so smart. Um, hmm. Nope. It's time for some hippie shit. Message. Don't be a menace. Let's see if we got any comments here. Sophia. Oh, up from location. That's right. All about the eyeballs, yeah. Glued to screens. And that is the location now. It's a big location. And it has all kinds of sensory data attached to it. Sophia, you don't have to react to everything immediately in life. You know, that's a hard thing. That was a hard thing for me. I'd say number one, coming from the background in the family that I had. Because everything was so reactive. And two, because of Scientology, because it's so ironic that, you know, the reactive mind, they're what they in Scientology's. So in other words, in the language of Scientology, what Scientologists are doing is mocking up their own reactive minds within Scientology. They're just making it all up. And that's almost like a disclaimer. But the thing is, just like with any other group, that, you know, where something could happen and your life could change in a positive way, and you could attribute that. It could be a fundamental attribution error. Which I have a video on. If anyone hasn't seen that, it would be a good one to watch. Talk about the fundamental attribution error and how it happens constantly when you are in these, I'll just call them states of mind. Because when you're in a, you know, extremist group, it's just a state of mind. When you're in a domestic situation that is dangerous, or when you are under fire or in a fight for whatever, you're fighting for your idea, you're fighting for your identity, or you're fighting for your life. If those kind of crisis moments, if you know, whenever they happen, there's a lot of encoded memory. I don't know if I can show this video. I want to. I don't think there would be a problem. I could show it, and if there is, I can probably handle that. And I may have shown it before, but let's see. So, is this one it? I know I've shown this one. This is the 2-minute video. This is what I will be doing again Wednesday. Sorry to trail off. I mean, you know, let me mute this commercial. Gaia. Sound of Creation. Ooh, that looks cool. Maybe I shouldn't have muted it. Wow, 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 wow. Skip. What am I doing? I'm getting sucked into it.
Let's pretend this is your brain. It is divided into two parts, the left and the right hemispheres. The left hemisphere is the slow one. It's the one in charge of language. It is logical and linear. For example, think about a pretty beach with white sand and a beautiful ocean and some warm sunshine. See how long it took me to describe that? But if I just show you the picture, the speed of perception is completely different because the right hemisphere is so much faster. This is the brain that works with symbols and metaphors. So now you understand the difference between the two hemispheres. For some reason, traumas tend to wind up in the right hemisphere. The brain is also divided up into 3 regions. This one is what we call the body brain. It's the autonomous system. This is the part of the brain that makes your body work without you having to think about it. For example, you don't have to keep thinking. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Because your brain does all of that for you autonomously, automatically. You don't have to worry about your blood pressure because that's another thing that your brain does for you as well. The second part is the emotional brain, also called the limbic system. This is where the sense of danger lives, literally. Think about anxiety for a moment. It's the sense of danger, and this is where we feel it. So what we do with EMDR therapy is try and calm down this limbic system that oftentimes stays on alert 24/7 because of a real or perceived danger. The third part is the cognitive brain. This is where we think. In one sense, Descartes held us back 200 years when he said, "I think, therefore I am." It's not all about our thoughts. Freud was right, a lot of things do happen in our unconscious mind. So this is the part of the brain that thinks and has conscious awareness. As you can see, 2/3 of our brain is unconscious. There is a lot of brain area that is not directly accessible to us as conscious memory. This is the Broca area, the verbal part, where language lives. I said earlier that the left hemisphere is linear, logical, and slow, and the language one. As we can see, the language area takes up a very small part of the totality of the brain.
Sucks.
So let's put it all together. What does EMDR therapy do? Suppose you are in an EMDR session. You will be asked to think about an adverse experience and the images, beliefs, emotions, and sensations that go along with it. We sometimes call it the sensory input because it can also be connected with smells, tastes, and other aspects of perception. This is what gives us access to the brain file, where the memory is. So while you think about all of these aspects of the memory, the therapist will apply bilateral movements. In this case, it was visual. I'm not going to go into all of the very complex details of how all of this happens in the brain, but I'm sure you get the general idea.
Why would you not go into the fucking details after you went through all those details? Okay.
As you think about the bad experience, the brain begins to link up the memory with the narrative, with language, with emotions, with physical sensations, and the negative charge begins to decrease. It gets digested or processed.
And I gotta say, after having done this 3 times, that when that's occurring, it does actually feel like an organ is doing something. Like, you know, you're digesting food or whatever. Like, something's going on in your fucking head. And it's massive, and it's like terraforming is what it feels like to me. Like terraforming sections of dendrites connected to neurons, connected to dendrites, just whole huge sections of the brain are like kind of like, oh god, yeah, okay, get rid of all of that. Hold on, we don't need that anymore. Don't care what you use it for. Figure it out.
So that in the end, you have a memory that doesn't bother you like before. Instead of that horrible thing that happened, the memory gets reprocessed and the file can go into the past. I'm not going to say that it turns into a happy memory, because it's not possible to turn tragedies into something happy. but it does lose its ability to harm us. The negative charge is dissolved, and we can lose the pain and suffering that is attached to the memory. So in very simplistic terms, this is what happens inside your brain when you do EMDR therapy.
All right, so I'm definitely going to get flagged for the music because it was this, cheesy canned track. Whatever. Yeah. So that all kind of cascaded off of Whitney's comment about, I think it was Whitney, that said, oh no, it was Sophia, you don't have to react to everything immediately in life. When you are in a constant state of alertness, everything is just feels like a reaction. And it can get hard to breathe. You may have a panic attack, anxiety attack, tightness in the chest, inability to focus, tremors, nausea, all kind of stuff. And unfortunately, in some cases, the it's just like she said, it's like 24/7, and it can be any of those things at any time, and very little relief from it outside of medication. Or in my case, I recommend for I used to call it meditation. Now I just sit and focus on breathing. And I look at my thoughts. I've done the mindlessness video. That's what I do. And that was helpful for me. Just to, breathe and let whatever thoughts are there, without judging them, without getting, excited or sad or depressed about anything that I'm thinking about. Just sort of observe the thoughts, where they're coming from, and sort of conceptualize my brain as an organ that's producing these thoughts. And bring some awareness to my brain, I guess. And yeah, the reactivity, it feels like when I've done the sessions that I have, that the reactivity is sort of like the rumbling stomach, but in your brain. And that's interesting because they call your stomach your second brain. But yeah, it's sort of like I felt the as she said, it was exactly as she said. And I'd done this before I'd watched any of these videos. I just didn't want to watch anything about EMDR before doing it, because I'd already had 2 or 3 years of asking questions to my therapist about what we're doing in EMDR. And then her trying to do EMDR, and basically me not understanding that it wasn't an auditing session and that I was actually in control of it the whole time. And every time it was attempted, for many times, it would just end, because I would end the session immediately. So, cognitive behavioral therapy is, I think, where it's at for people who leave and are getting into therapy. But again, like with everything, you should, know something about what you're doing, or don't do it. And some people aren't going to do it, much as you might want them to, and as much as you might think that they could benefit from it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And Sometimes Salvation by Black Crows. Great song. Wish I could play it right now. That would be a great. If I'd have said that, played that, run the outro, that would have been sick. Because sometimes Salvation in the Eye of the Storm. Remember the lyrics. To lessen your troubles, stop hanging around with vultures and empty saviors like me. If I had a nickel for every miracle that you easily tricked me into, you can lead a horse to water, but faith is another matter. So don't you surrender. Don't surrender. Because sometimes salvation is in the eye of the storm. Christopher Robinson there. The Black Crows. Is that his name? It's Chris, I think. Well, how do we want to... Oh, I've got... Scroll down, okay. Witness, my last project, we developed eye tracking to determine gaze length at something. Pretty crazy stuff. What the hell do you do, Whitney? That sounds pretty technical. Gaze length. Are you doing stuff for robotics or something? Nikarasu. Ezra and Nehemiah are a couple. I don't know who they are. Tim. Yeah, he was equally amazed. That's amazing. Eventually AI will know us better than we know ourselves. I'd rather not have any gaze tracked. Yo, man, you can't say nothing because you looked at that girl's ass for 3 seconds. And you was staring at them titties for 5. Canceled. Social credit score. Wah. Trustworthiness. Wah. Likelihood to be a predator. Wah. That's the scary take on it, right? Black Mirror style. Witness says, I agree. I can see how they'd use it to manage saturation of an image, ad, whatever. Nikarasu, with all the postulates, with all those postulates, how to keep it all together, too much power to give one human being. Lisa, give me a hug. I love you. She said autonomously weird. Yes, she did. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Lisa, I love you. I really do. You are a person that I consider a virtual friend. You know, it's not like you're a subscriber, follower, whatever, pitchforkery. You gonna carry a pitchfork for me? Hell no. We just hang out. We're friends. I've been really, really low down, and you have too. And We supported each other through the internet. But I do love you. She did say autonomously weird. Witness, okay. I only give Freud unconscious mind, but that is all. You know, there are these contributions, right, that all these people have made. I like how Dave Chappelle put it when he was talking about it was a recent stand-up that he did in LA, which I thought was ballsy. But yeah, he said you're gonna have imperfect allies, and it's best to learn to accept that. It's the truth. The truth is ugly a lot of the time. Ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. The truth is ugly. If you haven't seen it yet, it's from 2 months ago. It's about a 20-30 minute improv set. A very small club in LA. Nico Rastu, EMDR sounds like magic. Well, anything that just like flight would have seemed like magic. Like there is some kind of proof that there are proven studies and stuff now with EMDR. Whatever. It's considered a proven method that can work. It doesn't make any guarantees that it will. It's just another option, to try to resolve something. CBT's not doing it all. And it is really outside of auditing, which is a very carefully constructed mind fucking from a light mind fucking to a full blown like mind fuck. EMDR is more like you can fuck your own mind, but the odds of you fucking your own mind up are less, probably because it's your mind, right? And I know a good bit of people who, and rightly so, from the boomer generation. I was raised by legitimate boomers, right? I'm not a boomer. I was raised by boomers, baby boomers. 40s, 50s, grew up in the 40s, 50s. Married, and, most of them married before the 60s even happened. Because their parents wanted to get in the house, start having babies, and don't start being all counterculture-y. So, but the psychological stuff in therapy and whatnot at that time was pretty fucked up, man. Timothy McVeigh was a product of that before they shut it all down in the mid 60s, I think, or late 60s. And a lot of the ideological shit, what they were doing is they were implanting this guy. That's the term I know from Scientology. What it really is this mind manipulation through the means of writing and presenting theories, like in a learning setting with a student, and you know, basically write it again, write it again, write it again, write it. It's the primacy effect. This is what we know now as the primacy effect. You repeat it enough times, you believe it. And experiments like that were done on college students, Vietnam draft dodgers, and conscientious objectors, whatever, protesters, counterculture people. And you can't convince me that that didn't happen, because I just know too many boomers that are like kind of on the right side of thing, on the not the correct like right, but like on the right spectrum of political shit, and they're very much like, oh fuck it, don't need no damn therapy, just get up off your ass and do something. Sitting around talking about your problems all the time, whining about yourself, Okay, fine, that's fair, but like if you have a legitimate issue that's stopping you from, performing whatever it is you need to do, then if there are resources to help with that, then, it's your choice to do it or not. I don't think it's stupid to not. I don't think it's stupid to do it. I think it's kind of silly to not do it. I don't think it's stupid to not do it either. But if the resource is there and you are able to do it to improve something, then you should do it. But that is not, and that was not the view of psychology of a lot of people in that generation. They have mixed experiences. Most of them weren't good. So, Witness says, I like the mindlessness videos. Okay, maybe I'll do another one. I need to do it myself. It motivates me to do it for myself more. Sophia, it's sort of the quick result version of therapy. EMDR, I'm assuming is what you're talking about, but I don't know. Computer vision in videos. Oh my God. Witness. That is insane. Oh. Did you bring it up, Monica? God damn it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm catching up here. Virtually means PJ party. I'm lost, y'all. But the Witness, but the truth is also liberating as well. Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt, no diggity. In Quad Cadiz, a big part of the voice on the video, tone, rhythm, resembles the voice of Nancy from the coercive group of Nexium. She used NLP. Do you think it is a coincidence? The video that we just watched. I don't know. Coincidence is like serendipity to me. It's like either one could be true. And superposition is the thing. So, like, as far as I know, no coincidence. Or total coincidence. Terrible. And I feel like that was a terrible answer, a non-answer answer. So I don't know a lot about Nexium members or their culture. I know they took a bunch of stuff from Scientology, but if they were going to try to disguise it as not Scientology, because there are concepts I have heard that Keith Raniere wanted to basically literally just take out of Scientology and put it in Nexium. But if he would have done that, he would have been sued, because it's licensable stuff. You have to license L. Ron Hubbard. And pay David Miscavige for the license at RTC. So, I will say this. If we go back to... Oh no, I lost it. Where's the history? History. Alright, so I'll say this. I noticed in this video...
Started Brain HQ.
I started Brain HQ. I'm sorry. That was disrespectful. Okay, so I'm going to mute it. So well, first of all, when they talk about the right side and the left side, that's a concept that's, also in Dianetics and Scientology, but they call it the file clerk. The left brain is the file clerk, and the right brain is basically the reactive mind. And the reactive mind needs to give the information to the file clerk so that it can properly store the traumatic memory and you don't get triggered anymore. Right? So, already, as an ex-Scientologist who doesn't want to do Scientology, it really looks a lot like Scientology already. Which is why it's taken me so long to actually get into doing this. Because I have harangued my therapist and pelted her with thousands of questions. Because it seems so damn similar. It's like, I'm not, no. So, because what it's, you're allowing someone's basically root access is how I see it. Oh yeah, sure, I have root access to my brain. No, you're fucking crazy. I've done that before. It ended badly. So, that's the first thing. They're talking about left and right brain. And that the right side, reactive brain, left side is more logical, but it's slower. Alright, much slower. So here's a difference. The limbic system, the emotional brain, this is something that wouldn't be... I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know about the body, brain. I just looked at it in terms of left and right. Okay. This right here, where they're dissing on Rene Descartes, I kind of took... I ain't gonna lie, I was like, man, why'd you have to do that? Because Descartes, I feel, made some great contributions. You're gonna call him out for I think, therefore I am. Okay, fine, whatever. And at this point, I shouldn't get flagged because now we're talking about the video as fair use, Title 17. Cognitive brain, emotional brain, body brain. So in Scientology, and I suppose, if Nexium had similar concepts, then the emotional brain and body brain are just lumped together into the right side. But as you can see, there is part of the brain in the back here on the left side that is part of the body brain. All right. It was when this came up, ICES. Images, cognitions, which that comes up a lot in Scientology, and I bet it was in Nexium as well. Beliefs. So images, cognitions, emotions, and sensations. Well, what that reminded me of immediately was time, place, form, and event, which is a format for writing what they call overts and withholds. And the whole thing is based on like cause and effect. It's really quite simple to explain. Hubbard says that everything that happens to you is a result of an effect you created. In other words, you are cause. And for however long you've been alive, 76 trillion years since you blew up with the Big Bang, and since you separated your consciousness from yourself because you wanted to see space from a different dimension, and then that wasn't enough, and then you had to constantly find new forms of being and forget that you knew this and forget that you knew that. Okay, all the way down they call the whole track up to present time. That since the Big Bang, you've committed overts and withholds. If you were an asteroid and you hit another asteroid, or if you were a planet and you went out of orbit, I mean, these are overts and withholds, and you're carrying all that in your present lifetime. So, what you do, time, place, form, and event, you have to go back and write. 76 trillion years ago, I was a rock and I hit an asteroid and I felt bad about it. And my vector was whatever. And as much detail as humanly possible is what they always want. So, images, cognitions, emotions, sensations reminds me of time, place, form, and event, but it is different. Yeah, to me, I feel that it's different. And I also like this part of the EMDR. When you actually get a memory, like, and I think it's represented well there, that there's these little connections happening from the bilateral stimulation. So you got a memory targeted, and then the light starts going, and it does feel like something is happening, and I felt relief. It was like, because the left side, and she says the left side is slow, and I believe that because it's taking, from the times of the sessions, it takes a while to reprocess it all. So, I don't know if Nexium did all this. If they did, boy, it's a custom head fuck, just like with Scientology. So you can definitely use this stuff maliciously. That's a great question. Oh yeah. Sophia points out the obvious. Also, you can stop anytime you want and aren't locked in a room until they let you out. Oh shit. Comic relief. Let's see. You say you were on 3 EMDR sessions. Would you consider it as helpful for you? Yes, it has been helpful. But as with many things, like surgery was helpful for me as well to not die. I apparently have severe trauma for a long time or whatever. So it has been helping. It's been helping, but it's been just like a surgery. Like, there's this recovery, and what's freaky about it is, like, as I'm reprocessing everything, things are changing in my brain, and that's a little scary because I don't know if I'm gonna be a different person, if I'm going to, like, are there things that are gonna leave that I don't want to leave? Some of the pain and stuff I don't want to get rid of. All of it. Some of it has been inspirational for music and stuff. But, like, I would also remind myself that, like, hey, there's so much pain and suffering. If you need more, get it. Because, I mean, you don't even have to go get it. It'll come to you. So, letting as much go as possible feels right and feels healthy and it feels correct. Uh, and I felt different in a way like I haven't, like, for instance, I felt, I don't know, like, the feeling you get when you're a kid, I guess. You're like, you know what? Uh, I don't have to do my homework right now. I'll get it done, but I don't have to do it right now. Like Sophia said earlier, like, not everything requires an immediate reaction. Um, and that can drive other people crazy, by the way. Like if you don't immediately react to something. Um, cat. Oh, CBT. Yeah. Root access to your brain. That is a scary thought. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying. And so in Scientology auditing, it's like it's like a hack. Basically, the auditor is hacking you. Now, how much care they give is I would compare to like a surgeon. I'm not saying that there's all these skills involved, like to be a surgeon per se on a person, but like they could be rough with you or they could be gentle with you, but they are kind of trying to brute force hack into the root of your brain. And even if they are being rough with you, they have to be careful because if you get that kind of control or access, like one false move and like you have a psychotic person that needs to be restrained or needs to be, like, seriously, like you can do that. It's fucked. Whitney, Marcus, is the recovery from an EMDR session difficult? Is there an emotional hangover to get through? For me, yes, there has been. There's also there was a period of time after the second session where it felt like things were shifting around in my head. Like entire concepts that I had about all kinds of things. That's the thing, is that it felt like overwhelming. They weren't bad feelings. They were actually, it felt like it was doing the correct thing, but it was still overwhelming because I probably haven't experienced that very much. And at times when that period like slows down, because it's almost like the brain kicked into gear and was like, oh, okay, we're reprocessing that. And then it's a big one or whatever, because this one was a really big memory that just opened up out of nowhere. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck did that happen? And then I was able to verify that it did. So there was a big emotional hangover. It's still going on because what it involves is child endangerment. There are reports of a kid being dropped off at a guy who came back from Vietnam who was known to be unstable and discharging firearms and had explosives and lots of ammo. And, he just like, it's not supposed to be a child with that person alone. And, yeah, so that child was me. And going through that memory, realizing as an adult, looking back at this child, who I'm just playing on the floor, and he's walking back and forth up and down the hallway, I didn't think much of it. I just thought he was like a hyper kid. Because in a way, it was like he was just another kid that I was hanging out with. And, when I realized that he had stopped at the door where all the guns were in his room, and And then he had this breakdown. He started screaming at himself, talking to himself, like a demon and an angel on the shoulder, like, no, he's not. Yes, he is. Kill him. No, he's not. He went through this whole thing, and I just thought he was playing as a child. But looking back on that and having access to that memory, gave me a whole new perspective. See, I mean, like, that was really quite something. And it, I was angry. I went through anger. I went through sadness. I went through depression, all after this session. I reached out to my mother, my brother, my cousin, people who were involved in law enforcement that had been into this guy's house before. My mother to confirm that she didn't know. Because, I mean, I was like, I can't imagine her knowing that I was just dropped off there to be babysat. And then my brother to confirm, what the house looked like. Well, to me, the interesting thing about that memory is that, because I really don't trust memory, but the traumatic memories, and I'm not gonna go pull up all of the let me Google that for you stuff. There are lots of case studies, people coming back from all the way back from Iraq to accounts, traumatic events where, compared to police statements, a lot of witnesses, like bystanding witnesses, the accounts are always jumbled up and they're always getting something wrong. But with severe trauma, like say there's two people that witness a car go 100 miles an hour into a concrete telephone pole, it's likely going to be a more accurate memory. And for the people in the car, if they survive, their memory of just before the accident will be also very accurate. So the room where all of the guns were, I actually, until a couple days ago when I went and visited Mark, who was on one of the raids at this guy's house, yeah, all the way down the hall, walk straight in, all the way down the hall is his room, and that's where all the guns were. And the worst part of it, Whitney, was the acknowledging the kid, because when you're a kid, your parents is God, and they're not going to do anything to harm you, right? They're there to protect you. And so, like, the hardest part for me was the last vestiges, the ripping out of the rest of, like, all of any kind of idea that Ira, who was, claimed to be my father, was continuing his attempts to murder. But he was doing it on the low key. He was trying to get someone else to do it. He had tried to kill my brother Travis. He had tried to, sterilize my father. And he threatened my father. And he assaulted my father. And he terrorized my mother. And he terrorized my brother Mark. And physically, terrorized, brutal. And then used me as a bargaining chip, because he had money. But he used me as a bargaining chip, essentially, to get my mother to come back, because she knew how I was. She knew what was going to happen, and it was already happening. She just didn't know, I don't think, until the police, the police, but the teachers at school were reporting, and then the police came for whatever. Of course, you don't say, "Oh yeah, he's beating me." No, you don't fucking say that shit. Not back then. Not at that time. But I'm not a boomer. I was raised by boomers. So yeah, Whitney, it can be, does that answer your question? Like, it can be heavy. Yeah. It can be heavy as fuck. But it's going to all depend on what your stuff is. That being said, I'm okay. There was nothing that made it worse. But I got to stress something, because there was a person who emailed me during the summer who had an EMDR session and felt it really fucked him up. So I can't stress that enough that you talked. I've talked to my therapist for. I've been with Damien for 2 years, 3 years, and this whole time she has been wanting to do EMDR. We just started. So, and she's been qualified to do it for this whole time. For most of it anyway. I think it took her 6 months to get her cert and get all state approved and all that. So, vet your person. Make sure that they are aware of all of what could potentially happen. I guess what I mean is, make your concerns and fears known before you start doing EMDR, and make sure those are all addressed to your comfort level. But at a certain point, yes, it's a okay, here we go, bungee jump type situation. Because I don't think you're going to get rid of that aspect of it. But if you can, vet your person and just be really sure that they know what they're doing, that they've got a good accreditation through the state board, and aren't off just kind of fiddling with it. Because there are therapists that advertise they do EMDR, and they really don't practice it like regularly or properly, and they don't go to get their cert renewed. So, that's my consideration on that, regarding if you want to do it or not. Just always caveat emptor and do your due diligence. Barb tries. You're not a human being. You're a case. Yeah, in Scientology auditing, that's correct. You're a case. And that case supervisor and that auditor are the hackers. They're hacking you. A lot of good is still a lot. That's right. Bitch. You are so patient with the bullshitters, Sophia. But don't forget about your facial subtitles. I got an ace poker face if I need to. Oh. It's because it's literally trapped in your brain. Okay. Witness. Yep, the kid part, I'm still working on that part. It's rough. Yeah. That's like one of the things you do usually before you start EMDR, which is one of the things you're supposed to do, is create a container. It's an imaginative exercise that you use. It's sort of like a fail-safe, if you will, I guess, in case it all becomes too much. And I forgot to mention that because that's really important. I created imaginatively what I call the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. And it's just an imaginary square, 2 squares actually. It's kind of like a graham cracker sandwich or something like. But they're not touching, and in between that space, that tiny little space, is where I can put an infinite amount of energy or an infinite amount of anything. Thoughts, emotions, whatever. It can scale to the size, from the size of a microchip to the size of Jupiter. And it's called my unstoppable force meets an immovable object. And that's my container. That's what they call it. So if you do EMDR and they talk about making a container, you get to make up your own container. But that's my container. I thought about it and I'm like, well, what? Because if there's a risk of psychosomatic mental stuff going on, I don't want to have that interrupt some thing I'm doing in my life. So I need to have a place to put it. For me, emotions can run deep and wild. And so I needed something that was essentially not bulletproof, but like physics proof, conceptually, for what I consider to be the mental energy that can come out that I deal with. And it feels like that energy, saps my whole damn nervous system, limbic system. So reducing the amount of that kind of energy feels like it's creating a more relaxed body for me to live in. And that's good. But yeah, the container is the first thing that we did. Built a container. And so just to give you some, I feel like I kind of made it scary. I'm not trying to make EMDR scary at all. I just want to share that for me, it was important that I started on the right foot. Because wasn't real sure how fucked up I was from Scientology. and my previous history and current, because it still goes on. Whole reason I was covered in shit is because Ira went and fucking tore up the septic system. He's a maniac. So, and it's December. I'm hoping Christmas is like chill, man, because I got nothing to say to the dude. I got nothing to say. Bueller. Crazy. I've been on 2 hours and 15 minutes. I recommended a few videos to some people watching. PTP's reduction of attention span. The other one was fundamental attribution error. And I mentioned the primacy effect. I don't know if I have a video on that. I think I do. All that should be searchable in the search bar, but you're not going to find it in the thumbnails because I still haven't made thumbnails for all of those videos. It's overwhelming a bit because I've done 20 or so. Let me see. How many are in here? Of the old videos. The old 2015 to 2017. Here we go. Ding. Deprogramming. So, PTPs. And also, guess I should go and change the titles. But PTPs. Some stuff about old cowboy, the septic system bandit. I know I did one on oh, here's one, thought terminating cliches. So, oh, damn it. Why is this? This ain't supposed to be in that playlist. Remove. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna have to go and check because I'm pretty sure I did fundamental attribution error. But PTPs, anyone who is in, I get the. I'm not sure if Inquad KDs, if you were in Scientology. I got that impression. If I'm wrong, let me know. But the PTPs video, good place to start. Christmas is on a Monday this year. Don't forget. Oh, fuck me. Well, that may just work out then. I don't know. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Raw. Anybody got anything? They want to share. There's the link to the playlist. Looking for a house. Let me Google that for you. Here, put this in your bookmarks bar if you work in an office, and do this for your coworkers. They'll really appreciate it. I love. Let me Google that for you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Insomnia, Barb. Okay, well, I'm really sorry. That sucks. Yeah, every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So basically, everything related that I'm working on is on my, excuse me, Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you want to find, if there's something else you want to see, like we did a rehearsal the other day. If you fucking want to do that, watch that. There's also some songs on the page in the album. I am doing some broadcasting, and I'm hoping to broadcast the show. Yeah, there's 2 songs there that I played live, and then there's just some other music. I'm gonna flag myself on the out of this broadcast. I'll go ahead and flag myself. But what am I gonna play? I'm curious about if I would get a claim on a Nubo Aimatsu song. Because that's a cover of Nubo Aimatsu, Japanese composer. Let's do, yeah. This was recorded in 2006 after Hurricane Rita. In my cousin, he's not my blood related cousin. I don't believe he's a Shetley, and he is related to Ira Lee, but it was his studio, and had an EP on Vitamin Records with Final Fantasy cover songs, guitar arrangements. I don't want to blow everyone's head off here. There we go, get a handle on it. And do this. Bloop. Enjoy. Everyone have a great week. This is almost Christmassy sounding too. Except it's called Endless Sorrow. fits.